So today I'm going to be talking about the Amy Ware article, which was titled Unexpected Cowboy, Unexpected Indian, The Case of Will Rogers. And it's basically, not basically, anyway, it talks about Will Rogers, who was seen as a paradox of sorts because he was Native American and a cowboy. And as we all know about the idea of like cowboys and Indians fighting, it was definitely a new territory. So each section of the article has like a title to it. So, for example, the one on page 5 was called Roped In Scholarly Binds, and it spoke about how Native Americans couldn't really be seen as anything other than Native American. And it says on page 5, too often in scholarly discourse, Native people working in popular culture are used as props for understanding non-Native ways of thinking about Indians, for revealing the subtle and egregious recolonization of Indians in the nuanced realms of popular culture and mass media. Which really is just saying how we continue to see this stereotype of headdresses and fighting and barbaric behavior in mass media. I guess I haven't seen it as much anymore. It feels like this has evolved, although this was written in I couldn't see the date, but anyway, so that was one of the sections, and then she goes on to talk about the cowboys and Indians craze that happened, and how a lot of people, although not, kind of wanted to acknowledge the cowboy part of Will Rogers, but um yeah, but Rogers was also in vaudeville. I forgot to say that. um, but by 1904 was about the time that he began to work in vaudeville, and yeah, he. It says on page 9, which in the new section is I am the only territory boy here, the Cherokee kid in the Wild West, that Will Rogers preferred the itinerant life of a cowboy to the sedentary ranching life. His drive likely arose from his childhood, when he performed duties on his father's ranch, more typical of a cowboys than ranchers. Um, this is just a lot of this article is talking about his history, as well as his part on vaudeville, um, and just how people could relate to him more in vaudeville because the audience was made up of a lot of immigrants and working class background, so that they could kind of see him in themselves. Um, but anyway, yeah, this article is just a lot about his life, from going to vaudeville to Ziegfeld Follies to everything that he did, and just how biz- not bizarre, but yeah, how bizarre it is that he was able to live in this time period kind of peacefully. Yeah, there were some struggles that he did face, especially when he was doing the vaudeville circuit, but it was almost as if he was seen as a conundrum. And I think that a lot of the time he was identified more as a cowboy than Native American, just because of the era. I guess one of my questions for the class would be on page. Sorry, I'm going back to look at what page it was on. Let's see. Sorry. On page 24, when he says Will Rogers loses his hokey demeanor and becomes central to understanding the liminality that marked Native identities in the early 20th century. I was kind of trying to figure out what exactly made him get to this point. Um, but yeah, that's what I have to say.